The second new team we're going to be rebuilding after Oldham is Barnet, who just won the National League. Not as low rated as Oldham, but they play their football at the Hive. They are nicknamed the Bees, and they hammered the club that I support, Grimsby Town, and actually are doing quite decent in their 4th tier of English football. Dean Brennan has them playing some very good stuff. And we're going to get them playing better because I'm going to take charge of the Bees and take them all the way to the top in our 3rd installment of the FC26 Long Road to Glories. The lowest ranked in Oldham are down, the poorest in Bromley, as yes people, welcome now to Barnet. One of the lowest ranked teams, of course, because they did just come up from the division below and they have some decent players. Winterburn, Ronnie Stutter, Hugill on loan from Man United, so I think they've got a player on loan from Chelsea as well as him. Critchlow, absolutely brilliant team, with some good ones on paper already, and this team is good all over the shop. This is going to be hard to actually improve. Really nice. No wonder it got promoted, A, and B, it could actually go for another promotion when looking at this. Anthony Hartigan, I went for previously. Offerborth, who scored some absolute screamers against my club, Grimsby Town. Kane Smith is good. Scott High is decent. Idris Khan are the same, as the aim of this video is to take Barnet all the way to the Champions League. No contract, no objectives, just money and vibes. Or should I say, not much money, because we've only got 900k more or less. These are only just a bit richer than Bromley, who are the poorest club in the game, and we are taking over from Dean Brennan, so I'm not having a team sit back, and I'm not having a team 5 at the back. That being said, I think we've only got one decent striker at the club, so the 4-1-4-1 is the shape I'm going to go for, and I don't think you've noticed with Oliver Hawkins, he may not be the best player, but he can play centre-back and striker. He's a weird one, as Callum Stead can play up front, but maybe that's the position we look for. As when performing a slight shuffle, this is what our starting 11 looks like, and definitely got to sign a striker. Maybe a centre-back, maybe a right midfielder. As hashtag noticing, a lot of players on loan only at the club, like Ronnie Stutter, like I said, from Chelsea. Winterburn, Hugill, and the goalkeeper Kieran Slicker. So we've got to change some midfielders, and I think I'm going to move Hartigan up. Ryan Glover's going to have to be a left back, because he's at left back, but he's actually a right one. Idris Kanu to a right mid, and Callum Stead to a left. We've also got this man, Dennis Adeniran, who I believe was at Sheffield Wednesday, and this guy could literally filter into any position we wanted him in, showing what a class player we have, as I could go for a tactical vision. I also could go for coaches, but I am going to prioritize elsewhere, and that doesn't include the academy, because we've been heavy with the academy in the other 2 saves we've done. Plus, we've already got a player, Jorge Menderos, from Portugal, a cam. Someone to go out wide, actually, and he could filter into right midfield. Like so, leaving the only position, despite Hugill on loan, a striker we need to sign, as I'll leave goalkeeper for next year, and I am sticking away from free agent signings. Let's face it, they're boring sometimes, unless the video is specialised to free agents. I want someone who's been around this division and someone who's going to net goals. The rest of the team is decent enough, and is there anyone we could poach? I tell you what, Will Goodwin at Colchester. Yes, I know they're our rival in this division, but he's only on loan from Oxford United. And with us already having a Portugueser come through the academy, Fabio Cello is a huge name we could sign. From Barnsley to Barnet of League 2. And we'll love to see this season 1. Now, we currently are in January, so the board could say we have to spend it immediately, but we've been given almost $1 million by a local businessman. Thank you, mystery man, because you're making my Barnet job a lot easier. Let there be coaches, because that's what that man has bought us. Yeah, I just went and spent the money. We'll take whatever the budget is next year anyway. Them coaches, by the way, came in January, so they've been here a little while, as this is the team. I've changed positions, I've changed almost everything, apart from Kanu on the bench, because I wanted to only change our Portugueser in Medeiros, trying to up his rating to a 68. 8. Offerborth in the midfield. I'm guessing Winterburn's gone back to Bournemouth. Jallo up front hasn't really played. Hartigan has, though. And also Slicker. He's been granted his game time. And that is me proving to the top clubs, if they want to loan players out to us, I do give them opportunities. Winterburn might have just had to wait. We got Gray out on loan. We got a few players out on loan, including Original in Matajgo, Blower, and then we've got Chambers from the academy. And our top scorer, the left mid now, Callum Stead. Then it is Mark Shelton. Then it's Ronnie Stutter. I've just signed Jallo, but this man scored a lot more goals, so maybe Jallo plays next season. Or maybe we try and bring Ronnie Stutter in permanently, because Barnet is close to Chelsea. They're both southern teams, as I don't think he's going to be on the top scoring sheet, but there he is, Callum Stead, ahead of Swindon's Ollie Palmer. And that mystery man who put money in, it said he put money in because we're doing well. Maybe we've gone for a promotion and he wants more money for us in League One. But no. Just no. I'm completely wrong on that shout. Barnet go and finish 14th, and the club I support, Grimsby Town, finishing 18th. Only a matter of time until they get a rebuild as Sheffield United make the final. Of the FA Cup, we lost in round 2 to Mansfield. No shame in that. In the Carabao, it's a loss to Hull City. Shame we couldn't beat them rivals. Of mine, and then round 3 of the Virtue Trophy, losing to Huddersfield. Travelling up north for a lot of those, as I do want to sign some southern players. A lot of southern teams in the playoffs apart from Salford, which means we've got to get our business done to join one of those teams and get into League One very soon. This is a big road to glory, so strap your seatbelt in, click the like and subscribe button. Long journey, I feel, with this one. Very long journey. As the budget, right, it's gone up. Now we are an established League 2 side, but we don't want to be that for long. This is a road to glory, and we want to get to that glory land. As the team, Smith can come out for Carnu, and then unfortunately Jallo can be replaced. Also, Critchlow can go in, but I'm ignoring the main position, which is in goal. We've got Gray at only 18. Then Evans at 29, 61 rated. He's a little bit better. Also, one of our loanees coming back in Hobbs. He's only 18, you know? Give him a place on that bench. There's one important thing about this rebuild is we've got to sell players, because a lot of good ones down here rotting in them reserves, leaving Barnet sitting on money that needs to be taken out of the club. Take that money out from the businessmen and from the players we're not using, make the budget bigger. Then rinse and repeat. We've got 263 rated centre-backs and also Adam Senior, who's younger than them other two by 3 years. Miles Kenlock submitted a transfer request. Definitely want him out of the club. Same with Lee and Dovlu, who did play decent in real life. Again, against the club I support, I'm going to try and sell our goalkeeper and all these left backs we have. Ryan Galvin, not going to get utilised in this squad at all. So it's going to start the outgoings of Reese Brown firstly, a player that's at Barnet, but was also at my club Grimsby. We've also got Joe Kizzy going to Fleetwood. He's ancient. That's good money. And after Owen Evans joins MK Dons, the goalkeeper, we're taken up to almost 3 mil. As to be precise, it's 2.3, so maybe not too close to that 3 million mark, but still enough money to go and get a goalkeeper and a very assured striker. Peter Gray's a goalkeeper I'm very excited about. Really good potential, only 18 years old. And same with Fabio Jallo, only 20 as a striker, but we need someone for the moment to claw us out of League 2. And I've gone for a rival goalkeeper who's also in this division, stuck at Bristol Rovers, Luke Southwood. Not the youngest of keepers, but hasn't cost much because he only is a 66 rating at an old age, and his picture doesn't line up with that line, which is annoying me. And Gray will stay at the club because I do want to go far in every cup competition, as cups get you money. And one team that did well in the cup last year was Plymouth, beating Liverpool, and this man isn't starting for Argyle. He's got bags of pace, might cost us a little more than I expected to pay, but he's actually younger than Jallo, and I think him and Jallo could be the long-term future. Welcome Freddie Asaka. He's now 20, 67. 6'7 rating, shouldn't say that. As anyway, a few 70s here, including Jorge, our best player, our young player, only 19. He's younger than the man we just dropped 1 million on in Freddie Asaka, and the top scorer at the club is the right back, Idris Kanu. I don't know if I've got overlapping wing backs on, as I could make him a right mid, but with the amount of goals he's just got and his competition over there, I'm going to leave him at right back. The Sierra Leone international, that was a big mouthful for me to say, does still stay in this team, as Collins hasn't played and Southwood hasn't grown, probably due to Gray. He's now a 60 rating at 19. I don't want him getting all the game time though, because obviously I've got a better keeper that I'm hoping gets us promoted. There's only one player in the team of the year though, a lot of Crawley Town, but it is Kanu at right back obviously. And wow, 2 seasons in a row, 2 stinkers with Barnet in League 2. Now, I know they're a fresh face in the division, but this is a rebuild to the Champions League. We can't be stuck in League 2. We're 2 away from the championship. And my club, Grimsby, even getting worse, as give us a trophy or a trophy run to get us to spend more money. Losing to Cheltenham Town 4-3. Great start. With the Carabao no better, hammered at home by the Hammers, who of course we're not at the level of yet, and Bradford City beat us on penalties. Not good one bit for a team that looks really good on paper now. Centre-backs, and that is literally it. To get promoted here with Barnet and another 2 million budget. Looks like we're stuck at the same amount, but this year, no room to sell players, and also no room to sign from abroad because we are stuck to signing in England whilst we're this low down. So let's change that to centre-back, and let's firstly check in our division to see if there's anyone we could steal. Somebody high-rated, not someone low-rated like Tom Anderson on the decline. That's more like it, like Iena of Salford, but I'm looking for a standout here. Maximilian Bindhammer, low down with Harrogate, so he's a potential player we could sign, but somehow he's on loan from Empoli. Then there's Riley Curtis with a lot of potential. He's way too much at Exeter. But Alex Bonetig, do I want to sign him? Probably not, but the fact he's Australian and moved to Tranmere tells me maybe the A-League is open for us to sign players from, and we're not just stuck to looking in England, so let's try Australia. There's some decent little players here, like Dan Hall, 70 overall, looking good, but he's not the player I've gone for. I've gone for Kiki Anis, and also Nathan Paul. We've gone ahead and got an Aussie partnership for the centre of our defence, both 23 and 22, but the reason we got so cheap on Kiki Anis was because we swapped Billy Hobbs, who yes has decent potential, but we have to think about the now. We've been stuck in the bottom tier for 3 years. This year, we have to climb out of it. And what a fashion to do it in a top of the league. In our 3rd season here in League 2, 11 defeats is a lot, but 27 wins on the other hand is a lot as well. 89 points for Barnet sees them, with their Aussie back line, win their first trophy, although it has took its time to come. And can we try and do a bit of a bounce? Maybe go from League 1 straight away to the Championship? A man can dream, as we lost only just to Manchester United, not recreating what my club Grimsby Town did in beating them, as in the Carabao losing to Bradford, who were up there in this league, and the first time in FC26, and almost the first time in FC25. I think we only won it once. We win the Virtue Trophy, which is a tin pot one, but it's always good to have a bit of a trophy. It's a confidence booster and tells you your team's good. Probably coming from having 2 good goalkeepers, as Paul has not played. I'm going to call him Paul because he's got 2 L's, not just 1 in his name. And then we've got Kano at a 74. We've got a 77. This team has really, and I mean really upgraded. More than I ever expected. We're getting +5s to Jorge Mendes, now only 20. Oberforth got a +5, Stead a +6. Let's not forget he didn't have much potential when we actually started. I've been buying scouts all the time. Kanu a +7. Maybe that's delayed from the amount of goals he scored last year. I scrap that, he got 21 this year, and Stead got 27. Now, if you score 27 in any division, you are a top quality player. We landed only 2 players, however, in the team team of the year a little bit robbed, as next year we want to try and rob a championship place if we're very, very careful with business. I think we can do it. I think we can do it. I think we've got a good enough squad. We've got centre-backs over 70. In fact, the entire defence, or scrap that, the entire team is over 70 rated, and that is good enough maybe for a lower team Premier League side. Then again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Being the brilliant coach I am, taking us all the way to where we currently are. I might want to cash in on some players though, because you can see the majority of the good ones are 28. I might want to cash in on some because 4 million, that's roughly only enough for one player. And I know we've just got the Aussies in, but one player I am keenly keeping my eye on is Riley Curtis. The growth at Exeter has been phenomenal. And don't think just because our first team's upgrading that I'm forgetting about some of the bench players. Adam Senior, I'm training him at right back to potentially trade for Kanu once the time comes. And I'm buying coaches. As look at that, Joshua Nicholson. Now, we got rid of a centre-back just last year in Billy Hobbs, who's upgraded himself now to a 71 at 20. Imagine if we could drag him back. It is in the budget to do so. His stats are improving, his pace. He is better than Glover we've got. He's still on a low wage, and maybe he could be homesick. Let's just imagine that, shall we? As the homecoming already has occurred for old Billy Boy. Still, that's a lot of money. 3 million for a player we got rid of on a free. Or scrap that, we paid money to get rid of him. We paid a little bit more for Kikianis and traded him, now leaving us with no money. But now we can get rid of our other left back, if possible, because I don't know if we can accept bids. But Offerbar, he destroyed my club Grimsby, and Galatasaray are actually making us succeed. If he actually goes and sells... Oh, this is not the message we wanted. We've got to go to his best player. We've got to try and sign up Jorge Mendes before he leaves, as give the man the keys to Barnet. Still, that's not much of a wage demand. Fantastic news in keeping him. This is one big player I definitely wasn't letting go of. But on the other hand, Obafor, goodbye, good money. £17 million injected into this year's transfer budget. As we're told by K. Radnitz, we've actually upped the expenditure of Barnet by tenfold, so I don't feel guilty when I go and spend this money I've made. Firstly, on Javier Simmons from Bolton, the DM. Then we've got Harry Leonard, a striker from Peterborough. And then the final man I really wanted, Curtis, unfortunately to Mallorca, means our business is done. But our business has worked out big time for League One. And this is the perfect message I wanted to receive. After keeping most of our budget around, the board say they will carry it over to next season. And can we just leave this at wow? Just wow, because we've done one better. I said I want a promotion, and with 104 points, Barnet are going straight to the championship off the back of two titles, not just promotions, or not just automatic ones. Barnet and Blackpool up to the second tier. As let's face it, we had a goated squad. We did spend a lot of money, and we still have a lot left over. Readying the team to beat us in the FA Cup. I saw my club lose the derby there. I speak about Grimsby a lot in these videos. And Birmingham beat us to the Carabao. However, I don't believe it. I genuinely don't believe it. You don't understand how hard it is in some saves to win the Virtue Trophy, but we've done it here. Twice in a row, winning a title and then the Virtue Trophy. We just need to take it a little higher now, as I see Leonard straight out of the team. Still 75 rated, 70 rated, 272s on our bench. In the third tier, then Jallo's going to come on there, the forgotten first signing, as the first team. We've got an 80 rated Meredios. I can't even say my youngster's name, but he's here banging the goals in. That submitted transfer request will never come to light as long as I'm Barnet manager. He's staying here, is the top scorer along with Stead on the other side, Kanu getting a few, and in fact winning the player of the year for the League One season. Maybe we've got to have a clearer conversation on how truly good this man is. That 92 pace and physicality gets him scoring goals with 62 shooting from right back, and he's turning 30 soon. We've got to be aware of that as well on the other side, but we have Hobbs, 29-year-old Stead at 80 rated. Looks good, looks fine, but is not fine. Our centre mids, I think I'm going to make the focus. And of course, our goalkeeper, who's the oldest, the lower rated. It all makes sense to aim at that position. With the now 18 million, because we carried on, I think, 9 from last year, going into the championship. And I pray, because I don't think I've ever done it before, to go treble title winners with Barnet, a newly promoted club that, like I said, did win the National League before getting entered into FC this year. And there is some tricky teams in here: Sheffield United, Luton, Leicester, Lincoln, that made me feel a bit sick. But then again, no Leeds, no Wolves, no West Ham or Everton, who are prone to actually getting relegated. And now we can sign worldwide. I find the best goalkeepers hide in the Pro League. The best young and upcoming ones as Ewan Jowan, just out of our price range. It looked good though, and I'm pretty sure I'd rather have nobody else. There is a guy right here though, Josh Renard, a Belgian, and with the price difference, the lowest we can go, 2.9 million, I've got to try it. 9 years younger than Southwood and higher rated. Glorious, and we've almost made all that money back in one sale of Dan Chambers for 3 million. That, my friends, is one of our third choice players, showing how good we've been with money. But no, we finally get unlucky. The board have cut our spending, now only 7.6 million. They've took half of our money away, so I've just sold a player to up our budget, and now that player's gone for literally no reason at all whatsoever. With improvements, maybe another wide player we could do with another backup one, but that centre mid, a younger one to replace High or Hartigan once they retire, as I'm really struggling to sell them. And the player coming in here is called Samuele Di Benedetto. He's from Stuttgart's second team. Looking decent with the stats he's got, and I do like that buy from the second tier of a club that already exists. So I'm gonna try it again for our backup wide man. Welcome Madrazo. He's just going to sit on the bench right now for Di Benedetto to sit aside of him. Then we've got Hobbs. Then we've got Southwood taking over from Gray. We've got Renard, however, who hasn't played every single game. Some 80 rated. The majority actually getting up there now, with not many changes to the first team. A lot of transfer requests in, apart from Kanu. Instead he's 30 now. We've got to watch these aging players. Ryan Glover, the same. We've got 25-year-old centre-backs, a little bit longer in them. In the Aussie boys, as Stead the top scorer, 10 more than Jorge Medeiros, who, yes, I'm still struggling with the name for, and we haven't done that achievement. So the search does go on for a triple promotion title winning seasons, however you want to pause it or say it, because it's never done before. And yeah, we finished 11th. I think the board did screw us over slightly with the money issue, but then again, I'm not complaining too much. We've had a decent run in the FA Cup to round 5, the last 16. We've had 2 back-to-back titles. We needed this little setting period or resetting period to go again and get some better players in. As now, where do we move? We've got 3 decent goalkeepers. I tell you where we move is the Premier League. That's the long story short, but we definitely need some players in. Again, I'm aiming at that midfield, and I'm just hoping the board give us our full budget, as maybe we could change the formation though. That's something we haven't done in a while in this rebuild. Maybe teams are just expecting us to hit them with this shape we currently have, and with a decent striker on the bench, maybe we could go to a 2-striker formation, such as the 4-4-2. No one's going to see this coming. And in fact, the team that it's just put out here is probably better than I could have scripted it to be. As yes, Simmons in centre-back. We've got Paul at left-back. We've got our right mid to left mid. We've got Kanu further up the field. Stead as a striker does work, but I do need to make a little bit of a change here. I'm going to shuffle it around just because I want to get Harry Leonard involved. And at some point Jallo, because I feel sorry for him. He's come to the club with his Portuguese mate and we've entirely ruined his career. We've improved other players though, like Adam Senior, who's in our reserves. Just not the striker, as budget, oh my days, didn't even carry over, but 15 million. Right, the Barnet board want us up. And of course, I want us up. So we do need another backup striker. striker. We need someone a bit younger. Christian Komoto could have been absolutely perfect if he wasn't as high rated as he is. And Maciej Grabowski, yes, he is a regen, but he's the second regen going into the starting 11, and he's younger, got him cheaper in the final year of his contract, as I'm still worried about goalkeeper, but I do want to get one out before one in, as the next biggest bid we get is almost £40 million for Paul from Benfica. Sound, boss, amazing. We've got to take that money, but after what happened last year and the board removing our budget, I need to spend this money soon. So we've got Chalupek from Slavia Prague, Matthias Clarisia from Bochum in the Bundesliga 2, and another Australian defender in Alessandro Surkaci from Saudi Arabia. And this, I must safely say, is one of the weirdest rebuilds I've ever done. Look how they're all over 80 rated with a change of formation with old players in the squad. Kanu is the now highest rated. His stats have gone up magnificently. Then we've got Kikianis and we got Surkati at the side of him. Of course, another Australian link at the back. And then on the bench, it is very, very strong. We've got Gray, who's played in goal, one of our day one OG goalkeepers, which seem to just always grow. Kanu's somehow transfer listed. Didn't mean to put him on that list, as the top scorer isn't him this year. It's Jorge, who needs a bit of help. 27 goals. He's doing it himself, with Callumstead getting a few. Then Leonard. I'm glad I've got 3 strikers, because we need goals. We've got man of the matches going through. I just want to see the team of the year, as here it is. 5 players, the most out in any team. However, disaster strikes. We've won the title on that many points in previous seasons, but we fall into the playoffs on 88 points, losing the least amount of games in the league in 6. It was the draws that let us down and sent Sunderland and Swansea up. Still, I've got to keep the faith with that result, as, let's check if we had a cup run. Come on, please. No, Watford, beaten by a fellow London club. Manchester City in the Carabao, though, as Arsenal went and won it. Another London club, as I think that's a theme I'm going to go for next season. Signing maybe from the majority of London teams. Being a London-based team ourselves, and we beat one in the playoffs. QPR, 3-1, meaning we travel up north to Hull City, who have beaten us on the cup before, and now, successfully so, Barnet will be heading for the Premier League within, I think it's 7 seasons? It's took us a while to get us here, but finally we have reached the promised land of the Premier League with a very good squad on paper. Simmons is now our captain though, and that does not fit well with me. We need the captain to be someone who's been here from day one. And I don't know anything about Glover in real life. Maybe he's loyal to Barnet? Does seem the type of player. He's now 30 and an 84 rating. One of the ones who's grown massively, so he's going to be the captain for us going into this Premier League season, where I expect big things, as I am going with the expectation that Barnet must play in Europe, which the board aren't actually setting us as an objective, which I think is very kind, because we're worth doing it. As you can see right there, we are up here, but the budget, it is 45 million. Okay, kind of stinky. Can we get some investment from an unknown member of some kind of board somewhere, as Idris Kanu? Now he's 31. I would have loved to keep him, but the highest overall and the oldest player will get him sat on that transfer list. And then I'm kind of looking at the striker, Freddie Azaka, or Matthias Clarisia. I would like to keep Asaka at the club. Maybe bring him down to the bench and sell this man who we've only just signed. I do think that's the move, and he's got us all the way to the Premier League, scoring goals for fun from right back, but it's time we sold him to Leverkusen. Kanu's gone, man. It is sad times, and no bids in for our backup striker, as Kikianis has a big bid from Chelsea. However, I am going to turn that down, as we need a right back, and you might say we need a striker, but I'm thinking about something new entirely together, and that is removing a striker, going to one of my favorite formations to play when I'm playing Ultimate Team, Pro Club, something like that. I like the 4-4-1-1. Stead and Medeiros have been scoring goals for us, so hopefully they continue to, as Grabowski and Simmons need to sit behind a very good cam. And as I said last season, a lot of London clubs all around FC26, and we do need experience, so if we spend a little bit on this veteran player who's got the play styles. He will demand a huge wage, but he fits the Barnet philosophy we are trying to create now of goal scorers everywhere. And hang about, that's perfect. We can swap him for one of our bench strikers. As look at that, Eze costing less than £1 million. I feel like I've just scammed an absolutely brilliant player here. With the next move, yet again, we're going to stay with Arsenal, and you might see this as controversial. Diego Conde, an experienced keeper which we need, and with Renard and Gray already here, I'm gonna try and go for a swap deal and 8.4 million for a veteran. I'm gonna do it. Screw it. I'm taking another one from Arsenal. Was he much of a deal? No, but it still left us 112 million to go elsewhere in London. No idea how this man was at Fulham, but Connor Bradley at right back. He goes with Southwood into the Northern Irishman. This time though, he's in the squad, unlike the other, and I like him there, as now we've got a change to make in the midfield with our best midfielder. Apart from Eze, it is Simmons, but he actually can't be made yet because he's not just there as a centre mid, so I think we sign there alongside striker again, because yes, we've got a Saka, yes, we've got Leonard, but are these two Champions League quality? If you ask me right now, I definitely say no. And with us signing top quality, I'm going to get Cesar Casadei back to London, an ex-Chelsea youngster, and then I'm going to go for a big striker in the Brazilian Luca Mireles, who comes into this team with no face in the picture, but still 86 pace, 87 shooting, is even good at passing for a forward man. And that's because he can play on the wing. I don't like that our right midfielder's stunted on growth, but still, the team overall looks brilliant. As first things first, Javier Simmons actually did get played in this lineup, and he goes up to an 84. That is perfect for his stats. Taking over the other man in the middle, as there's the stats of the players, and Glover is the joint highest rated now at 31. As a Premier League captain, Eze got the most goals for us, but as you can see, -3. Because he's turned 33. Not good, and Leonard not good with scoring, same as his Zaka, so maybe another striker if we wanted one, but I'm going to trust Luca because he's gone up +5 and did cost us 37 million. And you might be saying, how have you still got 28? You know that businessman we had ages ago? He came back, he put money into the squad, and it's not Champions League, it's not Europe, but it's a good go for Barnet in Season 1, 17 wins and 13 defeats. Looks like goals leaking in was our issue, although I don't want to change the defence next season, and we lost to Chelsea. Why didn't we try and sign Chelsea's best players? Like we just went and signed from Arsenal, as both teams in the Carabao finale, if I can speak correctly, and we went out in the round of 16 to Bournemouth, which reminds me of a player we had earlier on in this save. He went back from his loan in Season 1, and that is Ben Winterburn. He decided he didn't want to play at Barnet, and now is at Basel, 75 at 27. Shows you that if you stay at the Barnet, if you stay at the Hive, he'll improve better than elsewhere. The only player I don't see improving here is the 34-year-old now, Eberechi Eze. Brought him here to be the star man, keeping him in London, but he's not going to do well, I don't think. I think his growth is done. So yeah, we do have another midfielder on the bench in Grabowski, but when I look at his stats, yes, it's not the best passing, but he's pacey, he's got dribbling, he's got physicality, and a wand of a left foot. Meaning I'll be trialling him out wide once Stead retires, but once Eze's gone, we have no one for that position, so I think that's where the money goes this year. As we won't be struggling with it, we've got 43 million, plus we've got whoever we sell, and we've got a lot of players here at Barnet. Actually, let's just check how many. 36. Okay, yeah, I was correct. We've got a bunch of them. And it's hard to sell some players like Luke Southwood, who's rotting in the reserves. And none of them will train to be a backup cam, so we definitely need to get a first choice in. I'm not going to trust Eze, and this is where the scouts come in clutch. As John Inge Christiansen looks good, but we hunt for better. If you haven't seen the Chelsea save we just did on the channel, we scouted absolute gems hidden in countries you don't expect and leagues you don't expect, like the Austrian Bundesliga. Anything here in the cam position that is over the rating of 80? No, but it's still decent. If we were lower down, a Kleber would have been perfect. Speaking of perfect, Borja Sepulveda, he is 22-year-old, 4-star, 88 maximum potential. And he is at Al Ain, who were in the Club World Cup, if I'm not mistaken. Paraguayan as well, like Diego Gomez and Enciso. The only problem is affording him. We've got 40 million we can spend. not thinking of contracts. However, I'm going to lower that, put Scott high in, try and send him to Al Ain. Sorry, Scotty, my friend. But no, they turn it down. They just want money. No, they just want money. And I cannot afford to pay his clause. So it's a failed bid, but I'm going to keep checking the rest of the world, as it is just the best place to scout. And we can definitely get Konzoglu. Not the highest potential of all, but at least we can afford Filipos, and he will replace Eze straight away and hopefully be our star man. Oof! And only making that one signing in the cam slot actually has worked for us. 3 points off the Premier League title in the Champions League where I expected Barnet to be. Like I said last year. It's a year late, but they're heavy expectations. I actually didn't check what the board wanted, as they only expected Europa League. I will take that. Unfortunately, we've already spoiled where we finished in the FA Cup. Out in round 4. To Portsmouth, it seems. Okay, losing to Pompey, not the worst result. And the Carabao we don't win as well. Shocking penalty shootout. In the quarterfinals, as the Champions League, I always like to check on. Have we got a better team than Barcelona and PSG? Well, I don't really know, you know. Simmons has grown a lot in the midfield, not being the captain anymore. We've got Konzoglu doing well. Mireles to an 88. No 90s, but then down here on the bench, really good players as well. We've got Leonard in the reserves at an 81. Perfect player if we do need to swap in any deals. Or could swap around like that, get him on the bench, get Grabowski changing to a left midfielder, because unfortunately, Stead's race is run. It's sad to see, but he's now 33. He's started to go down. I just don't like that in career mode. Once they get a certain age, they're not good anymore. Look at Ronaldo, look at Messi. Yeah, sure, they're not as good as they used to be, but they're not getting hugely worse, as Mireles scored 39 goals. And here we are, a clearer look in season 8 or 9, I don't know which. And Grabowski in the team, that's a regen through all of them cam positions, which actually aren't. We've got 2 wide players, and the wide player is where I want to sign. That left-hand side, I love Glover, and I do love Grabowski, but he can't stand. And one player I really didn't expect anything from when he came to Barnet, but he's been really good as a veteran, Diego Conde, showing goalkeepers grow for long times. He's got himself into the Champions League. He's got Joshua Renard behind him. Brilliant pressure and competition, as now we need to try and win the goddamn thing. Or win the goddamn competition. That sounds better. As money-wise, we've got 91 mil. Maybe the businessman's come back. And I'd love to win the Premier League, but all my focus goes directly into the champions as Manchester City to start off with. Are you kidding me? Oh, that is rough. As I know, last season, we finished above the likes of some London teams such as Spurs, West Ham, if any of these have got a sticking out winger who we can change to being our left-hand sided player, I would love it, but Moreira isn't an improvement, nor is Kevin or Iliman Ndiaye, now old at Fulham, and Crystal Palace don't have anybody. We're really searching London for a playmaker who can go out wide, and Mickey Moore of Tottenham, we can give him Champions League football, we can make him a left midfielder, and usually I'd try and swap someone here, but because we don't need that many players, I'm just going to offer his evaluation. Thomas Frank's still in charge of Tottenham. I must have different plans for them because he allows Mickey Moore to join Barnet, and I love that team. Honestly, I think that's good enough to go all the way. Maybe in a year though, because we do have some young players, apart from the left-back Glover. And you know what I'd do to see this man lift the Champions League title? Anything, but I would have liked to see him with his partner in crime, Idris Kanu, on the other side, who has kept growing. Look at his stats at Leverkusen. Insanity. And in a plea to actually see who's in charge of them, I'm going to check the managers. No absolutely urgent big movement. It's always nice to see some manager movement, as here we are a few seasons deep checking it, and now Glover, he has gone down a rating. Shame that, but I still think he's going to stick around. We've got 590 rated, if I can count correctly. Javier Simmons, since he was stripped of the captaincy, up to a 93 overall. One of our youngsters, Bradley, and then Sakati, then Luca. What a signing he was, netting 27, 14 assists. I did tell you he was a good passer because he's actually got the most in the club. Filipos Konzoglu, I would have hoped for a bit of an increase in his rating, but still 5'7", absolute magician like Messi is. And another cracking season in the Premier League. No, we're not near the title, but I'll take another Champions League spot because then we can build on it next year again. Until we win that trophy, which we aim for. Hopefully with Glover in the squad, I'd give him 2 or 3 more years. More than that, he's probably going to go to 40 overall. And I'd like to see him lift the trophies. What a weird FA Cup finale. If you have been watching in the background though, Swansea have been good and Rotherham get the better of us. Oh dear, this is bad because we lose to Arsenal, where we stole Eze from. Revenge gained on us as Bournemouth beat Palace, the underdogs of the Premier League. Strike up against each other, 15th in the Champions League. It means we did have to go through a playoff, but we won it. We beat Benfica, then beating Dortmund. Dortmund I always get the better of, before a absolute squeeze on penalties against Atletico de Madrid. Moving on to Man City. I don't believe it. Barnet have gone on a run to gain Champions League finale status in their 2nd Premier League season. Since promotion, I always get that one to settle, but that is quick. Let's not forget we spent 3 seasons in League 2 at the start of this, and we grew League 2 players to be in this final, 2 of them in this first team squad, including 2 of them on the bench instead, in Anthony Hartigan. Brilliant timing as well, checking the manager market, because now we know who's in charge of Pool. Eddie Howe's Redmen. Yes, he's gone from Newcastle like Isaac did to Liverpool. So if he's still going, I absolutely salute him. I wouldn't want to be him as Reds manager, travelling up to the Toon to play at St James's Park. As Newcastle, we've usually faced in UCL finales before playing this one of ourselves. Diego Conde, an old man in goal, but he just needs to get used to having the ball. Same as Glover, because I know he's old. And Cassidy, round the back, he's looking for a long ball into Luca Mireles. He's through and he puts it in the top corner. First attack, first blood. It's the man we signed from Shakhtar, still in Shakhtar Donetsk colours. The Bees are in front. I'm talking about the keeper remaining calm. I don't think I can after that, because 7 minutes in, he gets round the defender and sticks it top bins. Singing, ooh, my baby, diddy-dum, diddy-doo. Luca Mireles scoring 1 and 2. I'm going to make that song up for him, but I don't want to get copyrighted, as well as now Bradley against his ex-club. Into Javier Simmons, need to get forward again. It is Medeiros, gives it in front to Konzoglu. I can't really say these regens' names, but if he can hit a cross, that could have been a second goal. It's Leone in the defence for Liverpool, so unless he's improved drastically, we should be getting more goals with him there. Has no offence, but he starts off terrible in FIFA. Tried to use him a little bit when using a silver team in Ultimate Team, as that's a brilliant ball. Javier Simmons! And it was unlucky for us, as now Miredos, what a ball threaded through. It still falls in the middle to Cassidy. I don't know why I tried to go around the goalkeeper instead of just leathering that, as Medeiros goes back into Bradley. I don't think I've ever said our youngster's name right. We are still only 1 goal up here. We've got to be a bit more careful. Cassidy chips it up. A beautiful ball, and that is the second. We're not 1 goal up. We're 2 thanks to our Brazilian. Cassidy with the little chip up. I think that put the defenders off. Slides it through. And a first time left-footed shot beats Giorgio Mamadashvili with ease at his far corner, as Suleiman, never heard of him, trying to lace the boots of Mohamed Salah on the right-hand side as Mickey. Oh, what a spin out. Need to go again. Konzoglu forward. He's on for a hat-trick as Luca Mireles. Can he be the first hat-trick hero in a save for us in FC26? Just not getting the third, though. And we're going to try a short corner across the ground into Medeiros. And it's took a deflection into Mamadashvili again. And we approach the 88th minute now, so goals aren't as important. I've tried to dribble it around to just try and get a crossing across the ground to Luca, because I would have liked him to have a hat-trick. Could be a nervy ending here. It's a brilliant tackle. No way is that an advantage to Liverpool. Thought it was quite clean. And Cassidy wins the ball, meaning Barnet, the Bees, have buzzed themselves to the Champions League. As you don't see black and amber stripes lifted very much on the trophy, unless you are doing a Shakhtar save. And it is going to be that man I said I wanted to see, Glover. Love it. All the way from League 2, and he lifts it into that sky. I believe we're at the Metropolitano. As if you want to see us anywhere else, managing a different team, let me know in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe, and click on screen for your suggested video.